request everyone to please put your hands together to welcome our revered guests to this wonderful event in the morning. Thank you. Please take your seats, everyone. Thank you.
Ayam nija paroveti garina laghu chet sam udar charita nam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. One earth, one family, one future. Good morning and Jai Hind everyone. Sunbeam Lehetara welcomes you all for G20 Y20 India Talks 2023. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the philosophy that encourages a sense of global responsibility and encourages individuals to take actions that benefit not just themselves but others, which implies that we are a part of the same family. So I would now request the choir to come over the stage. Wow, what a melodious performance. So now, moving forward, let us tell you about what is G20, Y20 and V20 is all about. The group of 20, or widely known as G20, is a collection of 20 of the world's largest economies formed in 1999. Was conceived as a bloc that would bring together the most important industrialized and developing economies to discuss international economic and financial stability. It's an annual summit, a gathering of G20 leaders that debuted in 2008, has evolved into a major forum for discussing economies as well as other pressing global issues. Bilateral meetings on the summit's sidelines have occasionally led to major international agreements. All the G20 groups contribute 85% of global GDP. All the G20 group members contribute in 75% of global trade. Two-thirds of the global population is a part of G20. G20 comprises of group of 7 countries, 12 emerging market economies, and the European Union. It is the consensus-based group to enhance international economic cooperation on topical issues. It invites guest countries, international regional organizations to ensure inclusive discussions. There have been total 17 G20 summits held so far since 2008. Moving forward with the significance of G20 logo. G20 logo draws inspiration from the vibrant colors of India's national flag saffron, white, green and blue. It juxtaposes planet Earth with the lotus, India's national flower that reflects spirituality, fruitfulness, wealth, knowledge and illumination. 7 petals signify 7 seas and 7 continents coming together for G20 Bharat 2023. The Earth reflects India's pro-planet approach to life, one in perfect harmony with nature. The theme is drawn from the ancient Sanskrit text of the Maha Upanishad. Theme affirms the value of all lives, human, animal, plant and microorganisms, and their interconnectedness, the planet Earth and in the wider universe. Theme also spotlights life, lifestyle for environment, environmentally sustainable and responsible choices, leading to globally transformative actions in a cleaner, greener and bluer future.
Y20 is an official consultation forum for youth from all G20 members to be able to dialogue with each other. The Youth 20, Values 20, Y20 India Talks, where we bring together experts from various domains of public policy, business, entrepreneurship, academics, and civil society organizations to discuss issues of importance to the G20 presidency through the lens of Youth 20 and Values 20 priorities. Under the Youth 20 2023, there will be consultations on the 5 Y20 themes, along with various discussions at schools, colleges, universities, urban local bodies, and professional associations across states in the run-up to the final Youth 20 Summit. The focus of the activities will be on the building a shared vision of youth for good governance and democracy, and in using technology to improve skills across the board. The Y20 themes are Future of Work, Industry 4.0 Innovation and 21st Century Skills, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Reduction, Making Sustainability a Way of Life, Peace Building and Reconciliation, Ushering in an Era of No War, Shared Future, Youth and Democracy and Governance, Health, Well-being and Sports, Agenda for Youth.
Values 20. V20 is a global community of values expert practitioners that actively engage with G20. V20 was founded in Saudi Arabia in 2020 and focuses on how we, as global citizens, can collectively and consciously apply values to benefit the planet and its inhabitants. The Global Education and Leadership Foundation, TGELF, is the official organizer of V20 India Group. Founding members in V20 India with Ambassador Monica Kapil Mohta as V20 Sherpa, Mr. Shiv Vikram Khemka as Vice Chair, Sun Group, and founding members of V20, and Ms. Gauri Ishwaran Padma Shri as V20 chairs. V20 India's official theme for 2023 is Lead with Values in the 3 task forces: education, employment plus entrepreneurship and environment. V20 India has collaborated with the official engagement group of Y20 to organize youth talk across India and G20 member countries.
Let me introduce you all to our esteemed speakers. Dr. Sanjay K. Sharma is Professor of Mining Engineering. Sir was also a professional member of the SME USA. He is currently collaborating with the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India, for evolving a policy to empower young scientists. He had also been invited to deliver a special address at the Swachhata Sarathi Samaroh under Waste to Wealth mission of the goal at the RIP IIT BHU. Sir has been actively researching and consulting in the areas of numerical modeling in rock engineering, environmental management capacity building. He has published 65 research papers in international and national journals and conferences and guided 9 doctoral theses. Sir has served as an expert in prestigious government and non-government organizations for doctoral thesis examination. Now, I would request Director DHK Edisoft Limited, Mr. Harsh Madok, to come forward and felicitate Professor Dr.
Work and Management. Sir has worked with the Indian Tourism Developmental Corporation, Japan, International Welfare Association Pratham, the British Council, UNICEF and Time. He has initiated 2 educational projects and master mentoring 11 startups across 6 institutions. Sir has inspired and counseled generations of learners, artwork, languages and cultures. Sir has also been a personal mentor and counselor to over 30,000 undergraduates. Sir is the first TEDx speaker from Varanasi. He also was the National Quiz Master for Aqua Regia 2016, the Guinness Book of World Record Quiz. Sir has also received the Excellence Award in Career Counseling and Motivational Speaking by the Times of India Group 2018. Now, I would request her, sir, to felicitate Sir. Thank you, sir.
An alumni of Sunbeam Varuna. Varuna, where you are, loudest for her.
Aita Mehra to come up for felicitation.
May I just add over here a huge round of applause for Devika and to Anahita for the last 7 days. I have been troubling her with the logistics and she's been absolutely on the button with all the help from Delhi in organizing this event. A huge round of applause for Devika and Anahita.
It has just been possible because of ma'am that we have coordinated with T-Gulf and made this event possible. So can we have a huge round of applause for ma'am, please?
So to everyone present here for this wonderful Youth 20 Summit. As you all know, G20 is happening in Varanasi, but good to have the youth element also, where everything has to have a youth element as well. So all the big, the middle-aged people and the older people, we are having, all the powerful people, we are having discussions from a place of power and deciding the future of India and then the rest of the world. But it's good to have a youth element to that as well, and for all of us to discuss important things such as inclusivity and what kind of jobs there are going to be, what kind of global health crisis we are facing as we go ahead. So those kind of open discussions need to happen, and I'm so happy to see that we have Professor Sanjay Sharma with us and Anupamji, who has been a very important part of the Sunbeam family. He's part of the extended family. So thank you so much, sir, for having us. And so I'm sure that today's program is going to be great, and I'm sure all of us will open our eyes to what kind of discussions we are having at the global level. It's important to know about the global affairs, the things which are important to us, and the things which will affect us in the future. So it's very important to have such discussions, and I'm looking forward to more of them. So with that, once again, congratulations everyone. Thank you. Jai Hind.
शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Now, I would request Ms. Devika Shekhawat and Ms. Anahita Mehra for the opening statement and the introduction of Values 20.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I want to say thank you to Sunbeam for hosting us here, and to everyone sitting here today to be present. To, of course, Professor Sanjay Sharma ji. We, of course, all of us at TGELF also know a lot about you from Mrs. Ishwaran and all the work that you're doing at BHU. So thank you so much for being here. Of course, also to Mr. Anupam ji. We've not met yet, but would love to connect and speak more about all the great work that you're doing. And Arya, who has, we've been coordinating and working with the Youth 20 very closely. So thank you so much for coming down to Varanasi for this event. And lastly, of course, Mr. Harsh Madok for having us here, as well as the entire team of Sunbeam to do this. Also, I would like to say thank you to Anayata. She's from Banaras, from Varanasi, and has coordinated this entire event. Before starting and talking a little bit about TGELF, we have a presentation, so I just request if... Okay. Yes, just that I have the technology right. So I am Devika Shekhawat. I am a director at the Global Education and Leadership Foundation. I've been working with the foundation for about 8 years now, focusing on many high-impact social initiatives. And I have to say that V20 is one of my most favorite projects because it gets us to work with global leaders at a policy level, as well as a lot of young Indians who are part of the G20 family. So a little bit about TGELF. TGELF is an organization that seeks to identify and nurture leadership skills in individuals who are rooted in values, ethics, and altruism, and have a bias for action. We are extremely proud to be part of Values 20, which promises to be a meaningful platform for dialogue and exchange of ideas on the role of values globally. And since its inception, and now it's been running in India. So this is just a little bit on the different global leaders who have been talking about values, whether it is our own Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji or any other world leaders. Values is really at the heart of everything that the world does. A little bit ago, there were some students from the Sunbeam who shared how G20 is a group of one of the most powerful nations. And we spoke about the GDP, we spoke about a lot, the trade. But to us at TGELF, we believe that there's nothing possible without values, and without values of ethics, altruism, and decisive action. There is no point in having the highest GDP if you don't have values at the core of what you do, if you don't look at the sustainable development goals at everything that you're trying to do. So we believe that that's something fundamental for G20, but for every one of us in India and across the world. A little bit about Values 20, like it was already introduced, it's a group of values practitioners across the world. We have people as the founding members from all different parts of the world. It was started in 2020 in Saudi Arabia, and our chairman, Mr. Shiv Khemka, is one of the founding members, along with a lot of other members you can see up here. We have people like Mr. Richard Barrett, who started the Values Center, and is an academic who is kind of spoken and a leader in the value space. So we have people and practitioners across the globe doing this work. Our value proposition really is that we think that global challenges need to be solved with a values lens moving forward, and that's kind of where our entire focus and efforts in the past 4 years have been as Values 20. So India assumed the G20 presidency for 2023 on 1st of December 2022. and it began its year-long presidency of the Group of 20, G20, taking over from Indonesia. A nation deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, this is a watershed moment for the country as we seek to play an important role by finding pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so, manifest the true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or one earth, one family, one future. A key element in India's G20 presidency will be taking G20 closer to the public and making it truly a people's G20. We at Values 20 aim to activate our global community for engagement and collaboration among think tanks, civil societies, academics, and policy experts from G20 countries, and provide G20 with a value-based, human-centered policy solution that contributes to overcoming global challenges. This is just a little bit of the journey of V20. As I mentioned, it started in Saudi Arabia and moved with the G20 presidency. It moved to Italy in 2021 and then to Indonesia, and this year we are very proud to be hosting it in India 2023. I'm not going to go over this because the students did a better job of capitulating all the different values that G20 is bringing together this year. Just a little bit on our leadership. We have Ambassador Monica Kapil-Mota leading as our V20 Sherpa, and then Mr. Shiv Khemka and Mrs. Gauri Ishwaran, who are really mentoring and steering the entire movement this year, globally as well as in India. Like we mentioned, that we have 3 task forces, just like the Youth 20 has 5 groups, future of work, climate change, etc. We have 3, which is education, the first one, and how we want to focus on value-based education. The second one is entrepreneurship and employability. We believe that without creating jobs, a nation cannot move forward and the world cannot move forward. So we believe that value-based entrepreneurship is something critical and it should be considered in the policy making. So we are looking at entrepreneurs who are actually creating a social change, who are social entrepreneurs or conscious entrepreneurs. Lastly, we're also focusing a lot on environment, specifically in line with Prime Minister Modi's life concept, life which he launched in COP26. So we're also kind of taking that in. So that's, I'm going to end over there. I just want to say that we're also very proud to partner with Y20 in organizing this event. And the theme for the event is Lead with Values, Ethical Leadership in the Age of Industry 4.0. So thank you so much and welcome to the event.
So this is not for the first time I'm visiting this campus and this hall, but this rather is in a very different context altogether. And there have been times in my life when I had to tell people in a particular place how much or how exactly I'm going to shine in front of a sun. So when the sun is sitting there, in fact, because I understand who he is and where he comes from, and I'm too excited today to, and along with all of you, and I'm sure, in fact, this is Sunbeam, so you must be all carrying your notebooks and all to take all the notes, all the discussions, wherever something strikes your chord, to note it down. And this is the real value of these kind of events, whether it is G20 or V20 or Y20, anything. In fact, it is all culminated towards shaping the youth in a direction so that we can phrase and frame a better world altogether. Coming on to this topic, this is not a deliberation, but my understanding of such kind of events, such kind of talk shows, such kind of evincing my deliberations in various places, that I could deduce 3 terms from here. The first is the Leadership 4.0. But Leadership 4.0 is more of a factual outcome of something which has been discussed also in this particular topic that we are going to discuss today, and that is the Industry 4.0. Now we need to fairly understand the genesis part of it, that is Industry 4.0, to understand the Leadership 4.0. But when there are 2 entities, there has to be a connector. And the connector, which is a hidden term here, which is not, it is latent actually, not hidden, but latent. It exists, but is a parallel, but hidden. It's Values 4.0. So we need to understand that Values 4.0, as evinced very clearly by ma'am, is the connector for the leadership and the base of the term that we are going to discuss today, that is Industry 4.0. So I'll just make a small historical remark of what exactly is this Industry 4.0 and from where it comes from. For thousands of years, ever since we understood that we are human beings, it is not very far away, around 300 odd years old, when we realized to harness the potential of water and to bring two elements that has always been existing here, water and fire, to create steam, which was already there, but then to harness the potential of steam. Now that's why I use the term latent, and latent I associated with the term values. When that happened by Mr. Watt, it created a revolution. What is the intent of any revolution? Whether the revolution itself intends or it is expected out of it, it is only one word, that is change. Change is the only constant, or in Hindi, I can better explain that by saying that बदलाव शाश्वत है और वो होके रहेगा. But the riders of this change has been very slow for a long time in this humanity, which has been very centered and very redundant for a long period of time. Till the time Mr. Watt created this steam engine, and that changed the world for the first time. Till that period of time, the humans used to work like animals, and mostly they were into wars or they were working the fields. And then, because of this steam, we started to carry things from here and there, in fact, and the whole transportation definitely got changed. We were having things in the real time. The production really got a different boost. But it all carried on for around 100 plus years, wherein the world saw a second change. So understand this value system address by understanding that it took thousands of years, or maybe like ever since humans evolved, and not more than 300 odd years old when the first change came in the form of steam engine, right? And that created something called as rail engine that changed the shape of the transportation in this whole world. Of course, the beneficiary was first England, because they were the colonial empirical leadership position, in fact, in the whole world. But after that, this second change, where electricity came in picture, it mechanized the whole production. So I would say that the humans were working like animals for a long period of time. Then humans started to work with humans, and then the humans started to work with machines. The third change, basically the trigger was these two geniuses. One was Mr. Steve Jobs, the second Bill Gates. Had they not been the contemporaries in the late 60s and early 70s, what we are seeing today, where we are standing today, could have been like 50 years down the line from now. It could be. So if you talk about competition, you need to understand that this is the metaphor of it. This is the epitome of that competition you can actually talk about. And then started the machine. The machine came into our lives, the computers first, and then it kept evolving till the time internet came. And after internet came, the generations were started to get defined. The X, Y, Z, millennials, everything, whatever you call it. But we are not even like defining anything, in fact, because it's very indefinitive. Why? Because now we are in an industry 4.0. So you need to understand where we come from. As a human being has been a long time. Period of evolution, big evolution. But where we are talking about right now today, Industry 4.0, and in the context and wake of which we are talking about the two other terms, the values and leadership 4.0, is something that needs to be addressed by every single youth of this world, more so of India, A, because we are the most populated country in the world, officially now, and second, we are one of the greatest country in one sense that we are the younger side of that populated country. unlike Germany's and Japan's and China's of the world. So the Industry 4.0 is basically, I can say, an idea revolution. And when the revolution itself is centered around ideas, the change cannot be contextualized. The change cannot be structured. The change that is going to be is very, very infinite. So we're dealing with nothing and we are dealing with infinity. We are dealing with possibilities. And the term possibility itself generates a kind of impetus that has no strings attached on the other end. Leadership as a term, where we are going to be. So I've just told you from where we come from. And now if we have to talk about where we are going to be, then we need to understand leadership is a very slow process. Leadership I associate with two terms. First is character, and the second one is habits. It is easier to say that leaders are born, not made, but the leader is who was born but not made also took his own time to come to that excellence level. Because at least thankfully, with leadership, we don't associate terms like competitive. We associate terms like excellence. We don't say competitive leadership, we say excellence in leadership. Thankfully. So there we divide leadership at least with the competition. Otherwise, everything would have been managerial. So leadership by character is something that keeps on developing. And that any development takes time. किसी भी development को दुनिया में आगे बढ़ने के लिए वक्त चाहिए. But unfortunately, in Industry 4.0, there are two new definitions. Data is the new oil and time is the only money. When time is the only money, the swiftness with which it is being spent is something that really sets the tone for the third portion, values. Leadership by definition, अगर वक्त चाहिए उसको डेवलप होने के लिए, और अगर अब हम बोल रहे हैं कि इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में सिर्फ वक्त ही है जो कीमती है, तो ये प्रश्न ही कहाँ से उठता है कि हम इसके बारे में डिस्कस करें, क्योंकि ये तो सब कुछ अपने आप होने वाला है. ऐसा नहीं होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि not very long time back when there was a research that was conducted, I don't know the researcher, but this research you can get on internet, who came up with this premise that it took so many years for humanity to come closest to the attention span of a goldfish. The attention span of goldfish was 7 seconds. किसी एक चीज़ पे एकाग्र रहने की क्षमता 7 सेकंड तक सार्वभौमिक संपूर्ण रूप से. And then humans beat that goldfish जब ये रिसर्च आया कि 8 seconds है हमारा. And everybody was gaga about it. Wow, we are 8 seconds. At least we have beaten that, goldfish kind of a thing. Goldfish एक gold standard या SI unit शायद होती होगी. I'm not a researcher of that, so I cannot explain more about it. But since it comes from the most credible sources, I have to induct that in to understand what is values 4.0, and then to connect this, and then to listen to one of the person I love to listen to, Professor Sanjay Kumar Sharma sir. I really adore him. तो अटेंशन स्पैन जो 8 सेकेंड्स का हो गया था, जहाँ पे हमने ये सब डेवलपमेंट करनी स्टार्ट कर दी, हमने नए नए कोड्स बनाने स्टार्ट कर दिए, डिज़ाइन एलिमेंट्स लाने शुरू कर दिए, हमने डिज़ाइन थिंकिंग स्टार्ट कर दी, और ये सब कुछ जब तक हुआ तब तक आ गया एक नया ही रेवोल्यूशन, एक ऐसा राइडर जो हमें इनफाइनाइट कनेक्ट दे रहा है, जहाँ पे हम समझ नहीं पा रहे कि हम जाने कहाँ वाले हैं. और इस बात का उत्तर आज हम इस सभा में लेंगे. वो क्या है और क्यों है? क्यों प्रश्न ये है? क्योंकि आज के यूथ का अटेंशन स्पैन, लेटेस्ट रिसर्च कहता है कि आपका अटेंशन स्पैन, अगर आप युवा हैं इस देश के, तो 2.4 सेकेंड्स है. इसका मतलब देयर इज अ कांस्टेंट डिलैपिडेशन इन द अटेंशन स्पैन of the youngsters of today. All thanks to this, which has a bottomless possibility when it is combined with internet. There is no end to it. There is no depth दैट यू कैन एक्सप्लोर. और मैंने क्या कहा था, सिर्फ एक चीज़ की कीमत है, वक्त. तो एक युवा अपना वक्त कहाँ दे रहा है, उससे जो निकली हुई डाइवर्स इंफॉर्मेशंस उस तक आ रही हैं, उसमें कोई फिल्टर नहीं है. अगर उसमें कोई फिल्टर नहीं है, एक स्टोरी पपी के बारे में, दूसरी स्टोरी ओशन के बारे में, तीसरी वेल्स के, चौथी कोरियन पॉप, पांचवी एक भैंस के ऊपर छत गिर गई, छठी एक बच्चा खिलखिला के हंस रहा है, सातवीं कुछ और, आठवीं पता नहीं क्या, नौवीं ग्रूसम ग्रूसम, 10वीं टेररिस्ट अटैक, 11वीं पढ़ाई तुरंत शिफ्ट. इतनी तेजी से जब इंफॉर्मेशन हमें हिट करेगी, तो जिस एक चीज़ का सबसे पहले हनन होगा, ह्रास होगा, वह है लीडरशिप. क्योंकि लीडरशिप को मैंने बताया था अपनी समझ से कि डेवलप होने के लिए वक्त चाहिए. और जब वक्त ही स्थायी नहीं रहा, तो स्थायित्व तो कहाँ से आएगा. और इससे हुआ क्या है, कॉन्स्टेंटली जब से इंटरनेट घरों में बढ़ा है, जब से बच्चे, और ख़ास तौर से 2020 के बाद जब अपरिहार्य हो गया, इट वॉज समथिंग दैट कुड नॉट हैव बीन अवॉइडेड, बिकॉज द पेरेंट्स हु यूज्ड टू से तुम्हारे हाथ में मोबाइल फ़ोन अगर देखा तो उसे लेकर के ये लो मोबाइल फ़ोन अपनी क्लास करो. ये ट्रांजिशन ने हैज़ इंश्योर्ड वन थिंग, दैट लीडरशिप 4.0 इज़ अ क्वेश्चन मार्क, बिकॉज लीडरशिप 4.0 इज़ अ नट शेल ऑफ 7 काइंड ऑफ लीडरशिप्स, जिसके क्रक्स में अगर आज इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में क्रिएटिविटी न हो, न्यूक्लियस फैक्टर, तो चैट जीपीटी रूल करेगी. सो 2 थिंग्स दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. क्या हम चैट जीपीटी से हट सकते हैं? नहीं. मैंने कहा था राइडर्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्री 4.0, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, रोबोटिक्स, ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी, वर्चुअल रियलिटी, इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स, इतनी सारी चीज़ें हैं, पता नहीं कितने सारे नए नए टर्म्स आ रहे हैं. I as a career strategist keep abreast with all the changes, everything happening in this spectrum. But I'm telling you, I'm being challenged because there is so much to absorb. It's not about how much can I consume. It is all about what am I absorbing. And in absence of the filter due to technology with the youngsters of today, the problem is that they are consuming everything which is dilapidating their attention span. And then comes the word or term लीडरशिप 4.0. हम तो भूल ही गए कि वैल्यूज़ की भी हम बात कर रहे थे. तो इस चैलेंज के साथ मैं एक बहुत ही, आपने जो पढ़ा संजय कुमार शर्मा सर के बारे में, वो बहुत ही टेंजेंशियल है, बिकॉज आई एम abreast with, I come across lot of professors in the country, abroad, and I'm telling you one thing very clearly. He's one of the most celebrated professors from an IIT who also holds the deepest control and command over value systems. And how value system could be, I mean, this is very, sir, funny for me to understand how you do this. You need to sit, जैसे मैंने आपसे एक बार कहा था, बताइए कि टेक्नोलॉजी एक एंड पे आती है, वैल्यू सिस्टम, स्क्रिप्चर्स एक एंड पे आते हैं. You understand where we come from and you understand where we are going. So I think, in fact, without much ado, I would be wanting sir to मैंने एक अपनी समझ को सामने प्रेषित किया है, and whatever you have to say regarding this thing, in fact, like your deliberation, please.
I must congratulate Sunbeam, which 3 dimension is differently defined in your words. 3D हम लोग अभी तक दूसरा सोचते थे, अब से मैं 3D का ये एक्रोनिम लेके साथ चलूँगा. I must congratulate each of you because you are chosen few students from Sunbeam fraternity. I must thank Anupam. He is really Anupam. हिंदी में अनुपम माता पिता ने रखा तो यथा नाम तथा गुण वाले कुछ ही लोग मिलते हैं. अदरवाइज़ मैंने पूर्णिमाओं को श्याम वर्णी और लक्ष्मी चंद्र को गरीब देखा है. लक्ष्मी तो कंडा बिना भीख मांग गए धनपाल, अमर सिंह तो मर गए रह गए ठन ठन पाल. लेकिन अनुपम अनुपम हैं. और हर्ष जी के नेतृत्व में देख रहा हूँ मैं कि बहुत बड़े प्रयास हो रहे हैं. जहाँ से अनुपम ने बातें ख़त्म की हैं, काफ़ी कुछ मेरे लिए आसान कर दी है बात को. अनुपम जो कर रहे हैं, span of attention is the term used in psychology. Especially important is for students because span of attention से perceptions के निर्माण में सहयोग होता है. And there are people who have been able to beat this limitation of span of attention. So आप लोगों का जो चैलेंज है वो आप ही के साथ नहीं है, ग्लोबल लेवल पे है. देयर इज अ न्यू टर्म दैट इज इन मार्केट दैट इज कॉल्ड अफंटासिया. दिस अफंटासिया इज अ चैलेंज बिकॉज ऑफ विच अ हस्बैंड वॉज आस्क्ड टू क्लोज हिज आईज एंड आस्क्ड टू डिस्क्राइब हाउ हिज वाइफ अपीयर्स एंड कैन यू डिस्क्राइब एनीथिंग. He closed the eyes and he says, no image is coming in my mind of my wife. कबीर कहते हैं, राम मोर पीऊ मैं पीऊ की बहुरिया. मतलब पति और पत्नी से ज़्यादा अंतरंग संबंध नहीं हो सकता. उसमें पति ये कहे कि पत्नी का कोई इमेज मेरे पास नहीं आ पा रहा है. दैट इज़ अ टर्म टुडे वी यूज टू डिस्क्राइब एंड दैट इज़ अफंटासिया. Aphantasia is antithesis to creativity. Creativity basically is essential for RI space, that is research and innovation space, that is crux of where or the platform on which Industry 4.0, and people have also started talking about Industry 5.0. There was a full-fledged conference in Paris on Industry 5.0 or 5.0, whatever you say. And normally हम लोग 0 पे भी confuse करते हैं, but whatever you say, the crux remains same. The issue is, people are worried about ChatGPT and where will value go? And is India in a position to contribute something, or we will be onlookers and fence-sitters? Let me submit one thing. In October 2015, UN Development Report was proposed in which SDGs were launched. Sustainable Development Goals were launched. And a concept was used over there, I am quoting, sustainable consumption. The term sustainable consumption was used in UN family for the first time in 2015 October in UN Development Report. That word sustainable consumption is with full conviction, I am saying paraphrase of the word ten tyakten bhunjitha from Ishavasya Upanishad. So the sensitivity of the Rishi, 3,000 years before, he must have been a forest dweller. There must have been enough of plants and trees and flowers and everything. But the fellow is saying, ten tyakten bhunjitha. That means, please consume sustainably. And for Britishers to understand that, why I am saying Britishers? Because Britishers ruled the whole world. And if you want to understand where from the inferiority complex of Indians developed and the superiority of English speaking, today a person who knows English earns 35% more in salary than the person who knows vernacular or Hindi. Just by knowing English, you can enrich yourself by 35% more. I am speaking this in front of a career strategist. But that's the reality of India today, after so many years of independence. Now, why this came? From where did this come? I'll talk I have already told Anupam, I'll not elaborate, because I was elaborating in an MTech class what is definition. And to define definition, I needed 20 minutes. So we are defining what a definition should be, ideal definition. So, समय कम है, I realize organization's challenge. So I'll give you slants, the things which you should carry from this place. One is, please read British History of India by James Mill. James Mill, अमर्त्य सेन कोट करते हैं आर्गुमेंटेटिव इंडियन में, और कहते हैं कि ये मजिस्टेरियल अप्रोच टू अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंडिया का क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल है, जिसमें जेम्स मिल कहता है कि भारत को हमें सिखाना है, उन्हें कुछ नहीं आता और रूल करना है, और रूल उतना ही सिखाना है जितना रूल करने के लिए ज़रूरी है. और ये बात वो 1817 में अपनी किताब में कह देता है. उसी को 1835 में 2 फरवरी 1835 में थॉमस बैबिंगटन मैकॉले मिनट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. वो कहते हैं कि हमको ऐसे फौज खड़ी करनी है जो हमारे और जनता के बीच में इंटरप्रेटर हो, और शायद वही रूट है कि 35% अंग्रेजी जानने वाले लोग ज़्यादा पा रहे हैं आज तक। ये पहली बार है कि भारतीय शिक्षा नीति जो आई है, राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति, उसने कहा है कि 7 साल तक मदर टंग में ही पढ़ाना होगा। क्योंकि अगेन वाई दिस 7 years? 7 years because neuroscientists say that first wave of creativity and growth of brain occurs up to 7 years. फर्स्ट स्टेज जो सीखने की, ब्लॉटिंग पेपर की तरह सीखने की जो इच्छा होती है, एक बच्चा और एक आदिवासी ही कोई चीज़ को सही ढंग से सीखना चाहता है। एक पंखे को चलते हुए एक बच्चा देखता है या एक आदिवासी देखता है जिसने पंखे को पहले नहीं देखा, वही पंखे को सही ढंग से देख पाता है। तो चीज़ों को वैसे देखना चाहिए जो एक बच्चा देखता है, जैसे एक आदिवासी देखता है। तो 7 साल तक पहला फेज आता है, और मदर टंग इज कोरिलेटेड वेरी वेल in development of creativity. Fortunately, in India, many families have started putting English as mother tongue. उनके बच्चे दर्द भी अंग्रेजी में बताने लगे हैं, तो अंग्रेजी ही मदर टंग हो गई भारत में बहुत से परिवारों के। किंतु फिर भी जो परंपराएं हैं, काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय में मेरे एक अग्रज थे प्रोफेसर सुखदेव सिंह, वो कहते थे कि शब्दों का मरना व्यक्तियों के मरने से ज़्यादा खतरनाक होता है, क्योंकि शब्द पूरी परंपरा के साथ समाज में उपस्थित होते हैं। शब्द सिर्फ शब्द नहीं होते हैं। इवन नॉर्मन लुइस जो कहता है, वोकैबुलरी की किताब, वो कहता है कि शब्दों को सिक्कों की तरह बार बार पलटना चाहिए। साहित्य के विद्यार्थी कहते हैं कि शब्द को जितनी बार आप पलटेंगे, हर बार नई अर्थ लेकर उपस्थित होता है। तो शब्दों की अर्थ और परंपरा के साथ खड़े हो सकने की क्षमता पातंजलि अपने समय में और पाणिनि ने अपने अष्टाध्यायी में, और जो विज्ञान अगर देखना है, अगर आप वैज्ञानिकता की सबसे बड़ी चीज़ क्या है, सबसे बड़ी चुनौती क्या है, कौन सबसे बड़ा वैज्ञानिक है, किसका प्रयोगशाला सबसे समृद्ध मानेंगे, तो आज तक लोगों ने स्टीफन हॉकिंग और अल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन का कहा, और दोनों कहते हैं कि मेरे मस्तिष्क ही मेरी प्रयोगशाला है। अगर मस्तिष्क ही प्रयोगशाला है, तो जो पाश्चात्य प्रयास हुए कि बाह्य विश्व को जान, मेरी भाषा थोड़ी कठिन तो नहीं हो जा रही? अगर हो रही तो बता दो, आई विल स्केल डाउन। विच लैंग्वेज इज प्रेफरेबल, इंग्लिश और हिंदी? मिक्स ऑफ दिस ना, क्योंकि अनफॉर्चुनेटली क्या है, मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों, हिंदी में जाता हूँ तो हिंदी भी ठीक से आती है काशी के कारण, और अंग्रेजी भी माता रानी के आशीर्वाद से ठीक से बोल पाता हूँ। तो the thing that I am saying is there were 2 attempts to understand the world. Whenever we are establishing knowledge system, the only thing that we are doing is we are trying to understand the world in a way that is unanimous। और जो आपने लिखा है कि जो छोटा बुद्धि वाला होता है, इसको मैं शुद्ध हिंदी में परिभाषित कर दूं, जो आपने लिखा है, जो छोटा बुद्धि वाला होता है वो बोलता है कि प्राइवेट बात है, मैं तुम्हें बताऊंगा, तुम दूर रहो, और कान में बताता है, वो छोटी बुद्धि वाला है। और इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक थॉट प्रोसेस ऑफ फैमिली एंड लाइफ दैट हैज बीन पुश्ड बाय वेरियस फिलोसोफर्स ऑफ यूरोप, वो सब छोटी बुद्धि वाले हैं। हो जाएगी तो शायद पोस्टिंग मेरी बेटर हो जाए, आगरा हो जाएगी। औरंगजेब के पास चिट्ठी जब पहुंची तो औरंगजेब का टिपिकल स्टैंडर्ड था, कोई भी उसके पास पिटिशन आता था, उसको वो अक्रॉस काट देता था ऐसे, और 2 लाइन में ऐसे काट के बीच में लिखा कि यू हैव फेल्ड टू रियलाइज दैट विथ ईच हॉर्स 2 तुरानी सोल्जर्स कमांडोज विल बी कमिंग and you will be infiltrating 1000 Turani soldiers in Agra. That means they can destabilize the government anytime. So आपने तो सबको अपना समझा, लेकिन जो आया उसने आपको अपना नहीं समझा। तो कितनी बार हम लोगों ने बाबर की दादी, I read बाबरनामा to understand how Babur was created. If you want to understand how to create Babur, that is more important than reading what Babur was doing. I give more importance to Putli Bai, because Putli Bai created Gandhi, but Gandhi created Haridas. So if you read Gandhi, you'll create Haridas, but if you read Putli Bai, you'll create Gandhi. So more important is father and mother of Gandhi, who created Gandhi. Great men were created by ordinary people. With जो अनुपम ने कहा कि लीडरशिप के लिए चरित्र चाहिए और समय चाहिए, तो चरित्र और समय उनके पिताजी लोगों ने जो दिया है। मालवीय जी के मानस पुत्र ने सनबीम पूरा परिवार रचा। हमारे फैकल्टी रहे हैं जिनकी फोटो लगी है, फादर ऑफ सनबीम, ठीक है। सो मालवीय जी, हाउ ग्रेट वाज मालवीय एज लीडरशिप विथ वैल्यू इन this is 2023. In 1923, Banaras Hindu University had only dreams. They did not have subject, they did not have courses, they did not have infra, they did not have teachers. All were created. Graduate pass, just BA was posted as professor. चंद्रधर शर्मा गुलेरी, उसने कहा था, हिंदी के जो लिखने वाले हैं, उनको मालवीय जी ने खुद अपने सिग्नेचर से अपॉइंटमेंट ऑर्डर दिया और कहा कि now you have an opportunity to serve the cause of Oriental learning at Banaras Hindu University. So, but again the matter comes, there is huge crisis of integrity and trust on leadership world over. A Gallup survey was done in US and people were asked how many people trust what leader is saying will be true. It came only 7% in USA. पाकिस्तान में करेंगे तो आई डोंट नो व्हाट विल कम। इवन एल्सवेयर, मतलब मोस्ट प्रोडक्टिव स्टेट का ये पोजीशन है। एंड टुडे आई विल एंड विद वन स्टेटमेंट। सो आई वाज ओनली सेइंग दैट वैल्यू एंड इंडस्ट्री 4.0 can be best understood on today's canvas of scenario, that is 11,000 people have died in US because of gunshot events in 2023 only. शस्त्र है प्रगतिशीलता की निशानी, संयम न होना वैल्यू विहीनता का लक्षण है, ठीक है। तो वैल्यू और ये कैसे चलते हैं टेक्नोलॉजी, वो यहाँ दिख रहा है क्लियरली। सो विद दिस
Amazing. Can we just have a lot of, this is too deep actually to, I would also like to invite Miss Arya on the stage. She is the youngest of, I don't know, you might be very close to her age, I am definitely. So she's the youngest of the lot to grace the stage today, and please Arya, have a seat. Arya, there is a mic, you can catch hold of that here.
Yeah.
Please have a seat. So it's not only leadership that we are talking about actually. We are also including, or rather incubating, a term ethical into this. Now we need to first understand again, in fact this is my bad, I should have spoken about that, because unless the context is set, we don't know the direction in which we can talk about. So there are four elements to this term ethical leadership. I would really want the students to, because people like us, we research, we are not blessed with all kind of knowledge in the world, so you have to constantly read, constantly understand, constantly research, right? And you come across, in fact, a lot of things, and to learn from these events and efforts of people like you. Values, vision, virtue, and voices. So these are the four terms actually which summarizes this whole concept of ethical leadership. But ethical also has a connect with the term ethos. It actually comes from the term ethos. And the moment you say ethos, it simply means custom or habit. Any ethos, if it is devoid, in fact, so the two riders of the term ethos will be custom or habit. And ethos is basically about what is right. सर ने एक टर्म यूज़ किया था, इंटीग्रिटी। मुझे लगता है कि तुम सब बच्चों एक चीज़ तो अगर यहाँ से सिर्फ एक शब्द लेके जाना, not this whole talk and all, it'll be, since it is being recorded, you'll get a copy of it, in fact, like, or you get access to that. But अगर एक टर्म लेके जाना तो वो टर्म होगा इंटीग्रिटी। इंटीग्रिटी का मतलब होता है डू वॉट यू से, वो करो जो तुम कहते हो, इतनी सी चीज़ है। Of all the top 10 organizations in the world today, the global corporates, 7 corporations के, right from Alphabet to all the top guns that you know, I won't repeat. 7 out of top 10 के top 2 वांटेडनेस फ्रॉम देयर एम्प्लॉइज़ जो वो चाहते हैं अपने फ्यूचर एम्प्लॉइज़ से, उसमें एक टर्म यूज़ होता है, किसी में फर्स्ट, किसी में सेकंड, किसी में फर्स्ट, किसी में सेकंड, इंटीग्रिटी. अब प्रॉब्लम ये कि ये एज अ सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाया नहीं जाता, लेकिन जैसे ही ये टर्म आता है एथिकल लीडरशिप, तो हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में जो फ्यूल है वो ये है कि तुम्हारे पास इंटीग्रिटी है कि नहीं. तो जो वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन 4.0 की हम बात कर रहे थे, और ये 4 मैंने टर्म्स बोले, वैल्यूज़, विजन, वॉइस एंड वर्च्यू, इसको कनेक्ट करने का जो सूत्र है, जो यंत्र है, वो है इंटीग्रिटी. और तब एथिकल लीडरशिप इज़ व्हाट? इट बेसिकली फोकसेस ऑन लॉन्ग टर्म बेनिफिट, नॉट अ शॉर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट. एथिकल लीडरशिप लॉन्ग टर्म बेनिफिट पे फोकस करती है. और आज अटेंशन स्पैन हमारा डिप्लीट कर रहा है युवा का, 2.4 सेकेंड्स का हो गया है. ये बताओ दोनों चीज़ें साथ कैसे होंगी? तो डेफिनेटली द डेफिनेशन गेट्स अ बीटिंग राइट इन द हेल्म. और वैसे में एक टर्म आता है वॉइस. तो आर्या, यू हैव स्टडीड जर्नलिज्म. आई थिंक द क्लोजेस्ट person in fact to be among all of us to speak about what voice could be credited for, what it means, and how much it is important as a component, as a major tool of this whole concept of leadership 4.0. I would want you to speak about that, in fact with your exposure and experiences.
So every voice matters, your opinion matters, your leaderships matter, and whatever you think and however you want to lead, and whichever way you want to lead, and whatever the thing, everything matters a lot. When we talk about the industry 4.0, there are a lot of different aspects and areas where you can go and excel, and different departments. It could be advanced in robotics, artificial intelligence, blockchain, whatnot, Web3. So when we come upon voices, when we come upon leadership, when we talk about ethical leadership, we talk about values, so it should be included everywhere, and wherever we move forward, wherever we go, ethics and values should go along with it, no matter wherever the technology is going, how advanced it is going. So voice matters a lot. So
That's very well narrated, and definitely it comes from. But I would say that once you say that, as a student of journalism, it is rather easier for you to talk about what you have said right now.
Yeah.
But it becomes more of a narrative. How can that be imbibed by the youth of today? How can they credit voice? How can they understand what is just, right? You know, are they like not falling to a lot of narratives from here and there, in fact? So ethical leadership also means to hold that integrity. Do what you say also requires you need to understand what you're doing. Unless you are very clear, I mean, there is a clarity about what you're doing, where you're heading towards, and whether that is the just or right position, in fact, or the direction in which you should definitely head on. How would you, I mean, you would definitely succumb to that. So the choices of this voice thing, in fact, as to which particular filter should be and how that filter can come, what did you do? What exactly are you looking at the youth doing, in fact, so that the voices are incubating and not infiltrating?
So the very first thing, which especially you all, youth, can do, is to observe what's going all around you. And observation is key to coming upon the conclusion and whatever you want to do and however you want to lead. Because that's the point, while you observe things, that's the particular point when you see how things are going around, how things are happening around, and where you can lead it. So when we talk about ethical leadership in the age of Industry 4.0, it's not just that you are going with the flow, it's just that you're observing it, you are understanding it, and you are analyzing it, and then you are moving forward with the voice, with your voice, and how you implement it, that matters at the end.
Okay, thank you so much. Sir, एक बहुत ही important question. In fact, मुझे लगता है कि the school leaders and in this city, of course, this flagship is, I'm not saying because I'm sitting on this stage, but possibly the greatest innovators in the field of education, in fact, at the school levels. And then it resonates to the other brands or something like that. So somehow, even as a competition, a lot of schools look forward to this. कि इन्होंने ये किया है तो चलो हम भी करते हैं, which is a very good thing. In fact, healthy competition होना चाहिए. There has to be a flag bearer. But मेरा आपसे एक बहुत ही important question है. इनके यहाँ सामने मैं बोल रहा हूँ इस बात को कि आपने एक टर्म यूज़ किया चैट जीपीटी, हमने देखा उसकी पावर क्या है। मतलब वो आप बोलिए कि तुम एक ऐसे लिखो, वो ऐसे लिख के दे रहा है, फिर आप बोलिए इसको तुम डीप प्लेजराइज करो, वो उसको डीप प्लेजराइज करके दे रहा है, फिर आप बोल रहे हैं इसको तुम ग्रेड करो, उसको ग्रेड भी करके दे रहा है पूरी एनालिसिस के साथ। आप बोल रहे हैं पूरी कविता लिख दो, आप प्लॉट लिख दो, और वो लिख के दे रहा है, फिर उसको उसका क्रिटिक भी दे रहा है। मतलब डाइवर्सिटी इतनी आ गई कि वो, और ये अभी भी रियल टाइम में नहीं है। गॉड बेड कि जब वो रियल टाइम में आएगा तो क्या होगा हमारे सामने। अब ऐसे में एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन आता है कि हम जो अपनी स्कूली शिक्षा व्यवस्था में बच्चों को आज सिखा रहे हैं, मुझे तो लगता है पढ़ा रहे हैं, क्योंकि बच्चे से जब मैं पूछता हूँ, और मेरा डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट है इन सब चीज़ों से, और आपका मुझसे ऊपर के लेवल पे जो जहाँ सपने देखते हैं बच्चे कि मुझे आईआईटी में जाना है, आप वहाँ पढ़ाते हैं डे इन डे आउट, तो हम दोनों कम से कम एक चीज़ पे तो रेजोनेट कर सकते हैं, एक प्लेन पे, कि ऐसा हो रहा है। और वैसा अगर हो रहा है तो ये पूरी की पूरी स्कूली शिक्षा व्यवस्था कि तुम्हारा नंबर कितना आया से पहले ये पूछा जाए तुमने सीखा क्या पे आ जाए अगर, तो डू यू थिंक देयर इज़ एनी need in future of the schools even? Are they like not heading towards again that infinite D possibilities of eradicating the whole systemic versions of learning? Where are we heading towards? स्कूलों पे प्रश्न चिन्ह है कि जैसे आपने बोला कि सर नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क अब तो आ गया, नई शिक्षा नीति आ गई, बट ये नीतिगत बदलाव तो लाएगी। बट जहाँ हम बात कर रहे हैं उन चीज़ों की जिससे कि लीडरशिप की, जो मैंने आपको बताया था कि ट्रेडिशनल, एजाइल, डायरेक्टेड, एथिकल, सिस्टम, टेक्नोलॉजिकल, एंटरप्रेन्योरियल और अडाप्टिव लीडरशिप, तो ये तो हमें तभी आएगा जब वैल्यू सिस्टम पूरा चेंज करे। और जहाँ पे ये ना पूछा जाए कि तुम्हारे नंबर कितने आए, ये पूछा जाए कि तुमने क्लास 10th में सीखा क्या। तो आगे जाके आप स्कूलों को किस रूप में देखते हैं, या इन शिक्षा के जो हमारे स्तंभ हैं इनको आप किस रूप में देखते हैं? क्या ये ख़त्म हो जाएंगे?
एक्चुअली education per se is a dynamic concept and phenomena that needs to respond to the needs of society that gradually changes. ChatGPT, with God's grace, can only give you any answer which has been supplied to internet space in 2021. In society, you want answers for the problems that have come in 2023. तो ऐसे में अक्सर वो एक धमाल फिल्म थी जिसमें हेलीकॉप्टर उड़ाने लगता है, वो तो कहता है एक लाल बटन है, तो बोलता हाँ है, वो बोलता उसको नहीं दबाना है, बोलता मैंने तो दबा दिया। तो जो लाइफ की प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं वो अक्सर उस लाल बटन की तरह होती हैं। You neither know what is right, what is wrong. And ChatGPT will search the internet space and whatever has been put over there, like in Wikipedia. I'll give you a concrete example. आप सर्च करके देख लो, most of you have mobiles now. महामना टाइटल मालवीय जी को किसने दिया? वो ChatGPT बताएगा, एक बार गांधी जी ने, एक बार रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर ने, दोनों इंटरनेट स्पेस पे है। So this is the factual part, but the actual education is not sharing of facts. It is developing critical ability, critical analytical ability, understanding relationships of nature with people. जो हमारे यहाँ कहा क्या गया कि 3 लक्ष्य कहा गया, 4 पुरुषार्थ 3 लक्ष्य। और लक्ष्य क्या है? असतो मां सतगमय, जो भी असत्य है उसे सत्य की ओर चलो। अभी एक साइंटिस्ट का मैं देख रहा था आने से पहले कि साइंस नेवर सेज दैट दिस इज द अल्टीमेट ट्रुथ। जो सच्चाइयाँ मैक्रो लेवल पे दिख रही है वो माइक्रो पे जाते ही बदल जाती है। माइक्रो से जैसे ही नैनो लेवल का इंस्ट्रूमेंट आया तो जो माइक्रो में हमें सब सही लग रहा था वो सब दूसरे तरह से बिहेव करने लगते हैं। जैसे ही हम क्वांटम में जाते हैं तो आइंस्टीन जैसे आदमी को भरोसा करना मुश्किल हुआ, बिकॉज ही वॉज नॉट सो इन डेप्थ एज हाइजनबर्ग। हाइजनबर्ग कहता है कि हम वेव पार्टिकल डुअलिटी है नेचर में, तो आइंस्टीन ने एक फेमस स्टेटमेंट दिया कि गॉड डजंट प्ले डाइस। तो डिटर्मिनिस्टिक वर्सेस स्टॉकेस्टिक बिहेवियर नेचर में एक ही पार्टिकल का दो बड़े बड़े साइंटिस्ट बोल रहे हैं। और उसके बाद जब तक हॉकिंग आता है तो ये पता चल गया कि आइंस्टीन ने एक कांस्टेंट लगा दिया था जनरल, उसमें वो बहुत बड़ी भूल कर दी थी, जीवन की सबसे बड़ी भूल कर दी थी। आइंस्टीन जैसा आदमी। थॉट प्रोसेस में भी कंटिन्यूअस इवोल्यूशन ह्यूमन का हो रहा है। द ओनली थिंग इज स्कूल विल नॉट गेट चैलेंज्ड बट द टीचर्स विल गेट चैलेंज्ड। दे विल हैव टू बी मोर क्रिएटिव, they'll have to be putting their efforts in developing analytical ability, without which they were able to, I'll say, survive so far. ChatGPT will challenge them to go more critical, analytical, creative, and innovation. So I have a punchline which I, as chairman Institute Lecture Series, I had used it: educate to innovate, innovate to change, and change to evolve. Human beings have continued to evolve, and that evolution can never be matched by any machine, because we are product of nature and machines can hardly ever, कितना भी अच्छा विमान बन जाए चील की तरह नहीं उड़ सकता वो। उसी तरह इंसान प्रकृति का उत्पाद है, उससे चैट जीपीटी जीत नहीं सकता, क्योंकि फिर उसको कोई ना कोई इंसान और सुपर, वो जो बना रहा है चैट जीपीटी को कोई ना कोई इंसान ही है। डू यू नो चैट जीपीटी को पूरा क्लियर करने के लिए कितना पैसा दिया गया? $1.5 घंटा, $1.5 पर घंटा की रेट पे कीनिया के सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स ने इसको पॉपुलेट किया है, इसके नॉलेज बेस को। वो भी तो इंसान ही है। अगर कीनियन कर रहा है, इंडियन उसमें लग जाएगा तो वो $1 में उससे ज़्यादा अच्छा करके दे देगा। तो ये कंपटीशन मशीन का चलता रहेगा। लेट्स नॉट गेट पैनिक इनटू इट। एंड आपसे ज़्यादा तो मेरे स्टूडेंट्स हो तो सॉफ्टवेयर और पूरा हैकिंग पे शुरू हो जाते हैं। उनका दिमाग इस पे चल रहा है चैट जीपीटी को कैसे हैक किया जाए, ताकि पूरी मास्टरी उसकी ले लें लोग। पाकिस्तान का वो वेबसाइट खोलने पे मेरा भारत महान दिखता था, हैक कर लिया था लोगों ने, ठीक है। तो मेरे बच्चे तो उस पर करते हैं प्रयास। तो आई एम मोर चैलेंज देन द स्कूल, बट विल टेक अप दिस। चैट जीपीटी इज अ सपोर्ट in my opinion.
Right. So, sir, iske context mein there is a very please, yeah.
Since we are talking about AI and ChatGPT, so I wanted to add one case over here. So 3 days ago, I was at AIMS Rishikesh for the same Y20 talks, and we were discussing about how AI is used in medical studies and medicines, and how it is being helpful to the students and the doctors and the researchers over there. So one case came up, and the case was that when students do their research in medical field, or maybe when they are doing their PGs, so they have to file a lot of case studies of the patients related to the different disease, illness, or medicine, whatever they are studying at that point of a time. So with the advent of technologies and AI and ChatGPT, what happened, many students, I'm just not taking the case of India, but all across the globe, they started putting the question over there at the ChatGPT for the case studies related to the disease and the illness and particular medicine. So whatever the question was there, the answer used to be there, the particular case used to become, and they used to put that in their research. Now, the case was appropriate. The whole case was good enough to support the research base. But the problem was, when the guide, when the teachers, the guide under whom they are submitting their research, they are asking for the references, and the reference which ChatGPT is giving is all wrong, and not just wrong by 1% or 2%, but it's almost 100% wrong. So what students were doing and are doing, they are taking down the research from the ChatGPT and putting in their research and telling that this is their own case study, which is not. So what happens, there are two things. First of all, that okay, AI is giving you the case study. which is supporting your research, but because you're writing a research paper that is going to be published somewhere, or your PhD is going to be published and you will be giving that as an example at so many places. So your reference is not there and your reference is not appropriate, and it's totally wrong, first thing. Second thing, that today we are talking about the ethical practices, ethical leadership. So where is the ethics? The ethics will first come where you will have the accountability of what you are presenting, what you are presenting in front of your guide, and later on for the whole world, because your research, once you do the research, once your paper is published, it is in front of the public eye. So are you accountable? So the like how accountable you are, so these things matters a lot. So this was the case of AI and ethics that came up in the AIMS case like 3 days back in one of our discussion.
Yes, I mean, this is evolving, and
Actually,
Arya.
what Arya has said is, why should we be, she's talking about being ethical. I'll put more important issue of why should you be ethical? What if you're not ethical? Whenever somebody says you do this, you ask, what if I don't do this? If you don't be ethical, in if let's take it's 8 billion now, if 8 billion people do not behave ethically, is it sustainable? Ethical behaviors can only lead you to sustainability. Ethics is nothing but route to sustainability, and route to sustainability, R-O-O-T. Ethics is R-O-O-T, route of sustainability. And ethics is R-O-U-T-E, route to sustainability. And therefore you should be ethical. You're not doing something very out of the world thing if you're being ethical. There's a Gaia's principle, Gaia's theory, which says that if a butterfly, I repeat, if a butterfly flutters its wings in rainforests of Brazil, its impact is felt in European areas, sometimes as storms. So the whole world is interconnected. When Gandhi died, I am quoting from Louis Fisher, when Gandhi died, at that point of time in USA, a lady went into kitchen, and then she did not feel like cooking anything. She went out of the kitchen and sat sadly. And then the news came later that at that point of time when she was entering kitchen, Gandhi had died. It's an obituary sent on Gandhi. It is an obituary sent to Gandhi, quoted from Louis Fisher. So Gandhi's death impacts a lady in US. So things are interconnected. आपकी माताएं, आप कष्ट में होंगी, आप पूछ लीजिए उसी समय आपकी माताओं को कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता है कि मन में बेचैनी हो रही है, तो ठीक से है कि नहीं करके फ़ोन आ जाता है. ये कहाँ से होता है? भारतीय मनीषा, भारतीय चिंतन, काशी इस व्यवहार को आधार देती है. इस पर उसने आविष्कार किया है, इसका परिष्कार किया है, और इस पर रिसर्च करके आप विशुद्धानंद कानन है महलैया में, वहाँ पर सूर्य सिद्धांत पे बड़े बड़े प्रयोग हुए हैं. पूरी किताब है गोपीनाथ कविराज की, संपूर्णानंद संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालय में सीरीज रखी हुई है सूर्य सिद्धांत पे किया गया काम पे, ज्ञानगंज पे. ये भारतीयों ने काम कर रखा है. भारतीयों ने प्रकृति को समझने के लिए अंतर यात्रा का राह अपनाया. विदेशियों ने यंत्रों का उपयोग किया. आज जेम्स वेब टेलीस्कोप जो है वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा यंत्र है. 10 देश मिलके उस पर पैसे खर्च करते हैं और वो 13.7 बिलियन लाइट ईयर्स की चीज़ों को देख पाता है वो टेलीस्कोप. वही काम स्वामी विशुद्धानंद जी योग के द्वारा करते थे. वो ज्ञानगंज जाते थे, ज्ञानगंज से रात में अगर हम उनके लिखित किताबों को, उनकी डायरी को, श्यामाचरण लाहिरी की डायरी को पढ़ें, तो उन्होंने कहा था, डॉक्टर को अपना रिस्ट दे दिया, कहा कि तुम्हारे हिसाब से कोई व्यक्ति मरता कब है? तो बोले जब नाड़ी रुक जाए. तो बोले देखो मेरी नाड़ी. श्यामाचरण लाहिरी बोल रहे थे उनको कि मेरी नाड़ी देखो. नाड़ी बोले आपकी नाड़ी तो 0 है. तो बोले तुम्हारे हिसाब से तो मैं मर गया, लेकिन मैं तुमसे बात कर रहा हूँ. तो अंतर यात्रा के द्वारा योग के, आज भी योग के प्रयोग विश्व स्तर पर हो रहे हैं. तो जो योग को योगा जो कर रहे हैं उसमें हम हाथ पैर उसको हमने एक एक्सरसाइज बना के रख दिया है। योग अष्टांग योग है, पातंजलि योग सूत्र में है, योगश चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा से है, और उसमें मन के ऊपर योगा कर्मश तु कौशलम, कर्म की समस्त जब पराकाष्ठा पहुँचते हैं तब आप योग में पहुँचते हैं, वो चीज़ पातंजलि कहते हैं। तो योग का मन को सुधारने के लिए ज़्यादा था, अंतर जगत को देखने के लिए प्रयास ज़्यादा था बजाय के एक्सरसाइज के जो आज उसको प्रचारित किया जा रहा है।
So I'll just contextualize what was happening here in fact. Sir was basically giving us a great insight into all that we already have. Any kind of artificial intelligence or technological advancement will be making us more dependent on those in fact, and then to think one day that that is the only respite acknowledging which we can get our answers. बट यहाँ से मेरा लास्ट क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे रहेगा आई थिंक इस फोरम में, और मैं आर्या जब आपको लगता है कि आप भी इसमें डेवलप कर सकती हैं करिए, वो ये है कि इंडस्ट्री 4.0 लीडरशिप, एथिकल लीडरशिप 4.0 की हम बात कर रहे हैं सर, कनेक्टर हमने बनाया ह्यूमैनिटी 4.0 को। कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगता है कि किसी भी कालखंड में, किसी भी समाज में, किसी भी वक्त जब उस समय के लोग, कंटेम्प्रेरी पीपल, when they have thought of developing themselves, the art of development and the tenets of development have to resonate on the same plane as the wantedness is there. जो ज़रूरत है उसके हिसाब से हमें डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. Now this is very important for us to understand then what do we need to learn today. मेरे हिसाब से, and you can always contradict or definitely I'll be happy if you do that, कि आज की डेट में इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस सिखाना बच्चों को बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है, अडाप्टेबिलिटी सिखाना बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है, क्रिएटिविटी पे काम करना बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है, एनालिटिकल स्किल्स को होन करना बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है, और ये सब कुछ को हम करेंगे इसलिए कि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग वो कर पाए. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग ऑफ टुडे, एज आई सी अमंग द यूथ across the country and the world where I travel quite vehemently, मुझे दिखता है कि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में आज के it is not important what the answer would be. Till we'll focus on what the answer is going to be, we'll succumb to these technologies, lose our jobs and the possibilities of being a part of this contemporary world, as has always been. हर समय फर्स्ट, सेकेंड, थर्ड इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन में मिलियंस ऑफ लोगों की उस वक्त की जॉब चली गई, और ऐसा अभी भी फिर होने वाला है. इस बार स्केल ज़्यादा बड़ा होगा. तो अगर ये चीज़ें हम कर रहे हैं और इंटेंट हमारा क्या है, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, इसका मतलब इफ़ यू आर अ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर सिटिंग अक्रॉस द टेबल इन योर इंटरव्यू, द पर्सन इज़ ओनली गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन थ्रू दीज चैनल्स कि तुम क्रिएटिव हो कि नहीं, तुम्हारी एनालिटिकल स्किल्स कैसी है, तुम्हारे अंदर इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस तुम्हारा कैसा है, और एबिलिटी टू एनालाइज कैसी है, और किस चीज़ के लिए कि तुम प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व कर सकते हो कि नहीं. प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व क्यों? क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम्स वही नहीं जो डिफिनेटिव हैं. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग अगर एक एबिलिटी के तौर पे तुम्हारे अंदर होगी तो प्रॉब्लम्स जो भी आएगी तुम उसका सोल्यूशन निकालोगे. नहीं तो तुम कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज हो जाओगे कि ऐसी प्रॉब्लम्स को ये बंदा सॉल्व कर सकता है जिसको कि कल टेक्नोलॉजी रोबोटिक्स ले लेगी, ओवरटर्न कर देगी, तुमको वो ख़त्म कर देगी. लेकिन अगर तुम किसी भी तरह की जो प्रॉब्लम आएगी उसको सॉल्व करने की बात कर रहे हो, सर मुझे लगता है आज की लर्निंग में इट इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट वॉट द क्वेश्चन इज़. What is important is, sorry, what the answer is going to be. What is important is, do you understand the question? और सर क्वेश्चनिंग एक आर्ट है. आर्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग को अगर हमें इंक्यूबेट करना, अगर आप हमारे देखिए, आप साहित्यिक बात कर रहे थे और पौराणिक बात कर रहे थे कि जो मूल था डिस्कशन का, वो डिस्कशन और डिबेट था, वहाँ संवाद होते थे, जैसे ये भी हो रहा है. अगर एक बंदा आके लेक्चर देता है तो वो अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बातें कहता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे संवाद हो रहा है. Hats off to organizations like them and of course brand like Sunbeam for doing this. But तुम्हें इससे क्या मिलेगा ये इस पर डिपेंड करेगा कि तुम्हारे पास आर्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग डेवलप हो रही है कि नहीं. लीडरशिप 4.0 इज ऑल अबाउट नॉट डिफाइनिंग द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट आई नो एज अ लीडर, बट टू बी रेडी टू फेस एनी प्रॉब्लम, एंड दैट कैन ओनली हैपन व्हेन आई फोकस ऑन क्वेश्चन नॉट ऑन आंसर्स. अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन से एक बार पूछा गया था, तुम्हें 1 घंटा मिलता है एक प्रश्न का उत्तर देने के लिए, और अगर 1 घंटे में तुमने उस प्रश्न का उत्तर दे दिया तो तुम्हारी ज़िंदगी बच जाएगी, नहीं तो तुमको मार देंगे. तुम क्या करोगे? अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन ने बोला कि अगर मुझे 1 घंटा तुम दे रहे हो तो 55 मिनट में लगाऊंगा उस क्वेश्चन को समझने में. 55 मिनट में पहले से मेंटली फ्रेम्ड रहूँगा कि मैंने 55 मिनट दे दिया, बफर है मेरा क्वेश्चन को समझने के लिए। मैं पैनिक में नहीं आऊँगा कि मुझे आंसर देना है, मैं आऊँगा कि क्वेश्चन क्या है। क्वेश्चन मुझे 1 मिनट, 10 मिनट या 55वें मिनट तक भी समझ में आ जाएगा तो मैं आंसर को देने में 1 मिनट लगाऊंगा। लेकिन अगर मेरा फोकस आंसर पे रहेगा तो क्वेश्चन को मैं क्वेश्चन के यानी उसको कॉम्प्रिहेंड नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मैं अंडरस्टैंड कर पाऊंगा। और अंडरस्टैंडिंग में मेरी भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें आएंगी, मैं कहाँ से हूँ, कौन हूँ, क्या पढ़ा है, किस तरह की विचारधारा है। लेकिन जब मैं क्वेश्चन पे फोकस करूँगा तो मैं शून्य हो जाऊँगा और क्वेश्चन सर्वोपरि। And then I'll be able to understand, I'll be able to decipher the question rather than understand and give the answer. Understand the question and give the answer. So sir, how to develop the art of questioning in the youth of today? That I would be wanting to listen from you.
एक्चुअली उपनिषदों में जो सीखने की परंपरा थी, गुरु उत्तर नहीं देता था। वरुण के पास भृगु पहुंचते हैं कि इस ब्रह्म क्या है, उस समय वही खोजा जाता था। उन्होंने कहा जाओ और पता करके आओ। सो एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग जो टर्म आज आ रहा है, ये उपनिषद में प्रयोग हो रहा था और ज्ञान प्राप्ति का वही रास्ता था। जब आप खुद से खोजने की प्रक्रिया में चलते हैं तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन प्रश्न उपनिषद में ऋषि से पूछने 6 ऋषि पुत्र पहुंचते हैं और तुम लोग वैसा पूछते नहीं होगे। उन्होंने कहा कि ऋषिवर ये बताइए कि ऐसा क्या जाना जाए, प्रश्न देखो बोल रहे पूछने के लिए, तो प्रश्न पूछता है कि ऐसा क्या जाना जाए कि जिसको जानने के बाद और किसी चीज़ को जानने की इच्छा ना रह जाए। क्लास 1 का बच्चा अगर किसी टीचर से पूछे कि गुरुजी ये बताइए, सर प्लीज़ टीच अस दैट थिंग after knowing which we should not require to know anything more। प्रश्न कितना बढ़िया गढ़ा गया था कि नहीं। अब उसके बाद गुरु को देखिए, जो ऋषि है वो कहता है कि ऐसा करो, 6 लोगों को बोल रहा है, 6 ऋषि पुत्र थे, वेल रिकमेंडेड ऋषि पुत्र माने उसी के कलीग्स के बच्चे थे। कहते हैं ऐसा करो 1 साल जाके तुम लोग सर्च करके आओ अपने प्रश्नों का उत्तर, और तब भी अगर तुम्हारे मन में प्रश्न रहे तो मैं जो समझता हूँ वो तुमसे शेयर कर लूँगा। This is Upanishad, where knowledge had no hierarchy. Knowledge could come from anywhere. और वहाँ पर सनक, सनंदन, सनत कुमार 4 साल के बच्चे हैं अभी तक के, हर समय ऐसा कहा जाता है। सुखदेव बहुत छोटे थे, अष्टावक्र 8 जगह से वक्र थे, और उसका मॉडर्न उदाहरण मैं तो कहता हूँ स्टीफन हॉकिंग मॉडर्न अष्टावक्र था। तो ज्ञान कभी देह, स्थान, प्रजाति, जाति, स्ट्रक्चर, हायरार्की नहीं देखता। और जो व्यक्ति ज़्यादा समाज में ज्ञान को परसू करता है, उसने सिर्फ प्रश्न किए हैं। अरस्तु को पढ़िए, वो तो मानता था जीवन भर की औरतों के दांत 32 होते नहीं हैं, कम होते हैं। अरस्तु दांत खोल के गिना नहीं उसने, पूरा जीवन यही मानता रहा कि औरतों के दांत पुरुषों से कम होते हैं। कंक्लूजन जब आप करने लगेंगे तो कन्फ्यूजन्स ही जनरेट होंगे, जो क्वेश्चंस ही क्लैरिफाई कर सकते हैं। एंड बी हैव करेज टू क्वेश्चन एनीथिंग एनीवेयर। ब्रह्मा ने, बस लास्ट स्टेटमेंट भागवत से कोट कर रहा हूँ, ब्रह्मा ने अपने बच्चे को बनाने के बाद का, सृजन करने के बाद कि सृष्टि तुम्हें चलानी है, बच्चा पैदा होते ही बोलता है कि नहीं मैं इसके लिए आया ही नहीं हूँ, मुझे भगवत भजन करना है, तुम और कुछ करो। पिता को पुत्र ने चैलेंज किया भारतीय परंपरा में और मनीषा में, और ब्रह्मा नाराज नहीं होता पिता होके, कहता ठीक है तुम्हारा जो लक्ष्य जीवन का तुम उस पर चलो, मैं फिर दूसरा प्रयास एक्सपेरिमेंट करता हूँ। दिस कल्चर हैज़ बीन एक्सट्रीमली एक्सपेरिमेंटिंग, करेजियस, अभय, और तभी सही प्रश्न पूछ पाओगे, सही जगह में पूछ पाओगे। पूछना जरूर चाहिए। मन में ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट पूरी सभ्यता के लिए अक्रॉस टाइम एंड स्पेस जो कहा गया उससे ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है जो नहीं कहा गया। अगर इतिहास उसको फिर से लिखे जो नहीं कहा गया, पूरी कौरव की सभा में सिर्फ एक विकर्ण है जो द्रौपदी हरण, चीर हरण का विरोध करता है। 99 लोगों ने नहीं किया। क्या उनके मन में विचार नहीं उपजे होंगे? पर उन्होंने नहीं कहा दुर्योधन के भय से। बहुत सी चीज़ें जो हम नहीं कह पाते हैं, समाज के पतन के लिए वही महत्वपूर्ण होता है। गांधी कहता था कि डिफरेंस बिटवीन व्हाट वी डू एंड व्हाट वी कुड डू वुड सफाइस टू सॉल्व मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। तो डू, जो कर सकते हो वो करो, सारे प्रश्न करो। अगर जीवन में जो प्रश्न करने हैं कर दोगे तो आप समाज को बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूट करोगे। दिस इज माय सजेशन।
Brilliant. Brilliant. I think it should have been, a lecture. सर को तो मैं सुनता रहता हूँ बहुत सारे forums पे पूरे country में, but हाँ, definitely this is the beginning. Yes, Arya, you need to, you're excited about adding something, yeah.
So since you asked this question,
Art
that
of questioning, how to develop art of questioning.
how to develop an art of question, and today students and youth, specifically youth, are more focused towards that what answer is going to be and what will be the definite answer instead of focusing on the process of finding the answer. So whatever the question you get, just fall in the essence of finding the process of answer, because when you will start researching, when you will start reading, knowing about the things, you will find the way that how that way is very beautiful of finding that particular answer. So as soon as you get the answer, just move on to the different question. Same topic, but the question should be in the different aspect, so that you could get the answer which revolves 360 degree. I would just take a little bit of my example.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, my sir is here, Chandan sir. So Chandan sir used to teach me economics when I was in class 9th, and when I was in class 9th, back in my school days. And we all know what is there in the book of economics of class 9th and 10th CBSE. So what happened after that? I gained some kind of interest in economics and wanted to know all about what is development, how government work, how we earn money. During that time when I was in class 9th and 10th. So all these things were inside my little brain that time, and I wanted to know the answer. What happened? Obviously we were there, that time we were into Google searching all the answers that ye kaise hota hai, wo kaise hota hai. So apart from doing all this thing, what I went on to do, I did my honors in economics, and I would say just to find those little answers which I could get easily from anyone. I just have to ask my teachers, my parents, and all. And it was Chandan sir, the motivation towards studying the economics in my graduation, which made me later study journalism also, to find out the answer. And after getting the answer, after getting into the process of answer, how to tell the people, how to make people understand it, how to get it into more easy language and make it accessible and answers and understanding available to everyone. So when you go into finding the answer of any question, you just not only find for yourself, you find the answer for everyone, those who are around you. You are not just developing yourself, you are developing people, those who are related to you. You might be getting to know something new, then you will be telling your friends, your parents, your neighbors who are living all around you, and then you will be developing about that topic after reading about it more and more, and then you will have some sense of understanding that how you will execute that particular topic in the real world. So this is where the art of questioning actually begins, when you fall in love with the process of finding the answer.
Yes, so I think we have taken the time. I'll just put one final note onto this, and I'll definitely ask you, sir, to put your final note also. Or maybe starting with Arya, in fact, what's your final note? If you can just, what are we leaving here, in fact, on the table for the students to ponder upon?
Okay, so I wanted to say this at the very beginning, but I want to say this right now. I remember when I was student in the Sunbeam school, so we used to get one copy behind which it was written, Ancient Tradition and Modern Vision. Do you still have those copies? So what is the meaning of ancient tradition and modern vision?
I will explain that. I mean, just an interjection, you know. We are discussing the leadership of tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are sitting with a professor of an IIT who gave one of the greatest gyan on the scriptures and all that this land has to offer. This is what it means actually. And it is happening in a place where it is written. Right?
And sir, the best part is, whatever we are discussing today has its base in that one line, ancient tradition and modern vision, which is behind the copy of Sunbeam copies, and which is actually the base of ethics, values, and leadership altogether. That we are moving forward, we are developing day by day. And we have a lot to do, we have a lot of things to explore and develop and work with it. But the thing is that we cannot leave our ethics, tradition, and values behind. We have to go along with that in whichever area, in whichever department, or in whichever era we're ushering to. So it has to go with it, our values, ethics, and our tradition.
सर आपके उद्गार दो शब्द.
Anupam, when we talk about ancient tradition, many of us believe that we were ethics, we talked about spirituality, we talked about religion. It's not so. Our 4 goals, major goals were Arth, Dharma, Kam, Moksha. Arth was also there. We did not leave it. We have a full-fledged Artha Shastra, which talks about, it's a very smart proposition. अर्थशास्त्र says कि क्वाइन को सरकार को बनाने की नहीं ज़रूरत है. मिंट में सोना लेके आदमी आएगा, 8% पैसा देगा, उसका सील लगाएगी सरकार और अपना सिक्का लेके आप चले जाओ. So it was having such a smart way. Similarly, I shared few days before a Tamil mathematician's proposition of finding length of hypotenuse. Pythagoras' theorem was said that Bodhayan had given it in Shulva Sutra. But Bodhayan से भी ज़्यादा स्मार्ट सॉल्यूशन एक तमिल मैथमेटिशियन देता है, जिसमें वो कहता है कि बेस को 8 पार्ट में काट दो, उसमें से 7 ले लो, और जो हाइट है उसमें से आधा ले लो, और दोनों को जोड़ दो तो हाइपोटेन्यूज का लेंथ आ जाएगा. सो स्क्वायर रूट की पूरी प्रोसीजर ही हटा देता है मैथ्स से. तो भारतीय साइंस के संख्याओं के संबंधों के बारे में बहुत अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी. एक तिर्यक प्रिंसिपल वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स का लगा के पीएचडी सबमिट हुई है. डेटा साइंस में 47% का टाइम रिडक्शन हो गया. डेटा एनालिटिक्स में 47% का टाइम रिड्यूस होने का मतलब है बहुत ज़्यादा एनर्जी की बचत और बहुत ही एफिशिएंट सॉफ्टवेयर का डेवलपमेंट by simply substituting the logics and the mathematics. So India was excellent in chemistry. नागार्जुन ने पारे से, मर्क्यूरी से सोना बना लिया था, और मालवीय जी और जुगल किशोर बिरला के सामने इट इज़ डॉक्यूमेंटेड 18 सेर सोना 1927 में बनाया गया, और वो 72,000 रुपये में बेचा गया. सनातन धर्म सभा पंजाब को वो 72,000 रुपये डोनेट कर दी गई. This is documented in 1927 also. So therefore I request my humble submission to Harsh ji and Deepak ji is that बाबा ने इन लोगों को ये सामर्थ्य दिया है कि सनबीम की हर शाखा एक किसी ऋषि को, एक किसी आचार्य पे गहन अध्ययन और अनुसंधान करे, एक नई पीढ़ी की टीम बनाए जिसमें बच्चे 50 बच्चे, 5 अध्यापक और आप लोगों का नेतृत्व हो, जो 5 साल के बाद विश्व में सुश्रुत के ऊपर ज्ञान का सबसे बड़ा पीठ हो. काशी में सुश्रुत हैं, काशी में कबीर हैं, और लहर तारा में आप बैठे हैं. लहर तारा में संत कबीर का जन्म हुआ था. उससे बड़ा एक्सपेरिमेंटर मैंने जीवन में नहीं देखा. वो कहता है कि जो कबीरा काशी में रहे तो राम ही कहानी हो रहा रे. वो चला गया मगहर, क्योंकि जनश्रुति थी मगहर में पैदा मरने पे अगले जन्म में गधा पैदा होता है. तो वो कहा अगर मैंने राम को देखा है तो मैं गधा नहीं पैदा होऊंगा. कबीर का कॉन्फिडेंस देखिए, मरने पर एक्सपेरिमेंट करता है वो आदमी. वो कहता है तू कहता कागज की लेकी, मैं कहता निज आँखन देखी. निज आँखन पर विश्वास की परंपरा आपकी धरती देती है, उसे आगे बढ़ाएं. काशी के ऋषियों पर सनबीम अगर प्रयास करे, मेरे से जो बन पड़ेगा. मैंने भारत सरकार के नीति निर्माताओं को भी कहा कि नागार्जुन के लैबोरेटरीज स्कूल्स में उत्तर दक्षिण भारत मध्य भारत में स्थापित होना चाहिए, और अब हमें प्रयास करना चाहिए कि आधुनिक नागार्जुन और हम सोना बना सकें। लक्ष्य था नागार्जुन का कि भारत में कोई गरीब न रहे, हम सोना बनाना सीखें। तो उस लक्ष्य से फिर से हम लोगों को अगर चलें तो मेरे ख्याल से हम कहीं पीछे नहीं रखेंगे। यह शताब्दी भारत की है, इस पे मुझे दृढ़ विश्वास है। और ये तमाम आंकड़ों से फिर कभी किसी दिन किसी चर्चा में हम बता सकते हैं कि ये शताब्दी क्यों भारत की है। क्योंकि हर्ष जी जैसे यहाँ पर लीडर्स हैं जिन्हें पुराने लोगों का आतंक नहीं है। ये वो पीढ़ी है, अभी जो नेतृत्व है उसको गोरी चमड़ी ही सच बोलती है, और चमड़ी गोरी हो गई तो सब बात सच हो जाएगी, ये विश्वास नहीं है। इसलिए ये नई बात सोच सकती है, इसलिए इनको एंशियंट और मॉडर्न के बीच सेतु का काम करना होगा। ये इनका दायित्व है, सामाजिक दायित्व है, CSR है, जो भी कहें। तो विद दैट आई एंड।
बट आप मिलेंगे कहाँ? जल्दी ही आपको हो सकता है भारत सरकार कोई अपने एडवाइजरी बोर्ड में या फिर किसी सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी का वाइस चांसलर बना के ले जाए, और फिर हम यहाँ पे चलिए हम मिलेंगे आपसे वैसे भी। तो जस्ट टू एंड द होल थिंग अप इन फैक्ट ओवर देयर आई कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज इन 2 लाइन्स। एक सूक्ति है सुभाषिता मंजरी से, आचार्यात् पादमा दत्तै पादम शिष्य स्वमेधया कालीन पादमा दत्तै पादम स्वब्रह्मचारी भी। It means that the whole process of learning can be understood if a learner has passed through 4 stages of learning. The first is where he has a guru. Second is when whatever he gets from the guru by being a true disciple of the guru, not challenging the guru, asking questions but not challenging the intent, a true disciple, then he does the manan and chintan, what sir has been very beautifully talking about. Manan and chintan, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, अपने ब्रह्म से पूछता है कि ये जो मिला है मुझे क्या वो पर्याप्त है, अगर नहीं तो और इसमें क्या है, तो प्रश्न वहाँ से आएंगे। एंड थर्ड, ही डिस्कसेस विथ हिज फेलो मेट्स, विथ हिज कलीग्स, पीयर्स, कि वह उसी क्लास में बैठ के मैंने तो ये सीखा, मैंने कहा था ना क्या नंबर आया नहीं, क्या सीखा, तो मैंने तो ये सीखा, तुमने क्या सीखा। तो ये सीखे में एक बहुत बड़ा सबसेट आएगा, लेकिन जो इंडिविजुअल सेट आएगा, that is the extent of learning that a class can reverberate, that the class can actually exponentially go beyond the size of the classroom also. And then जब ये 3 quadrant तुम्हारे पूरे हो जाएं, then you go on to the technology, you know, ask questions, उसको हम practical exposure बोलेंगे, experiential learning बोलेंगे। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कम लेकर के क्लास में ठीक से बैठ के सुना नहीं, जो भी सुना पता ही नहीं किया कि वो समझा क्या उससे, और कभी इस बात को जानने की कोशिश नहीं की कि मेरे साथ 35 बच्चे और बैठे थे, उन्होंने इस पे क्या समझा। तो हम सीधे अगर इंटरनेट के पास जाएंगे तो हमारे पास सिर्फ प्रश्न होंगे, हमारे प्रश्न नहीं होंगे। और जब तक प्रश्न हमारे न हों, ये वैल्यूज़ 4.0 तुमसे दूर रहेगी। और अगर आज की डेट में वैल्यूज़ 4.0 तुमसे दूर रही तो लीडरशिप 4.0 भूल जाओ, वो तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है। तो ये कहाँ से शुरू हो रहा है, कहाँ जा रहा है का सबसे बड़ा सार मुझे लगता है जो मैंने अभी सीखा और जो मैं जानता हूँ हमेशा से, उसका यही है, कालीन पादमा दत्तै पादम स्व ब्रह्मचारे भे। सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड टू बी अ फ्लैगशिप बेरर from this country, which is a great place to exercise the leadership, because what I can see, what sir has been telling, I listen to him very prominently, very ardent listener of whatever he says, and many other people of his merit, they are of this opinion that this is India's era. And if it is India's era, we need to define our roles. What is my role? And unless we focus on that role, ये सब बदलाव हमारे अंदर नहीं होगा। तो बदलाव तो शाश्वत है, होके रहेगा, लेकिन उस बदलाव में लीडरशिप पोजीशन पे हम रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे, ये हमें तय करना है। थैंकिंग यू ऑल वेरी मच फॉर दिस डेलिब्रेशन। सर, आपको प्रणाम कि आपने समय दिया, राइट, और आप आ जाए। डेफिनेटली हम सबके लिए, इनफैक्ट आई हैव टेकन माई नोट्स, आई एम श्योर इनफैक्ट यू मस्ट हैव टेकन योर नोट्स फ्रॉम वट एवर लिटिल वी कुड एंड वट एवर द जायंट हैड टू से इनफैक्ट ओवर देयर। थैंक यू सो मच अगेन।
Long back, I had read about physics Nobel laureate Yasodhar Rabi, and he was asked in an interview about why did you become a scientist, right? What is the secret behind your becoming a scientist and winning a Nobel Prize? Possibly what I had read at that point of time today sitting over here, I could understand what exactly he meant, because he said the only factor that made me into a Nobel laureate was my mom. So everyone was expecting a very stereotypical answer about your mom sacrificed a lot or pushed you to work hard and stuff like that. He said, no, none of these, For generally when we go home, when we were young, now your parents would generally ask, your moms would ask, what did you learn at school today, right? But Isadora Rabi's mother, I understand, never asked the same question. She asked, what did you ask at school today, right? Possibly that answer today fructifies the deliberations. But what is very important for all the students over here, and that's a concern that stems from being a teacher, right? Bound in a certain way, right? Is the fact that understand the students, and this is something which is a concern, is everything that we spoke about, we started off with integrity. We moved on to value systems. We spoke about emotional intelligence and the need for it today. Unfortunately, as teachers, we have to fathom it for ourselves. How do we bring it? And as students, it is something that is never taught in a structured manner, right? So when we are talking about value systems, there are times when irrespective of wanting to speak about it or upholding it, we are bound by time and curriculum, right? We are talking about emotional intelligence. How much of that coaching is also given? Because I understand, like everything else, you have to handhold children to a certain extent. So the deliberations today for me as a teacher leaves more questions than answer, And I think so that in itself needs to be assessed, to be researched, to be worked upon. And one thing which I can assure you, in the absence of Sir and Ma'am and Amrita Ma'am, that Sir, your fantastic idea of Sunbeam Schools picking up the work of an ancient rishi or an ancient tradition and doing more research and getting children involved in it will definitely be taken up. And I'm sure in a few months of time, when we invite you once again, you will see those seeds germinating in whatever way possible, but will germinate, that is for sure. That is something that will take it forward. Once again, thank you so much. I'm sure students, the 2 hours that you spent, again, when you're going back to the ones who have come all the way from the other schools, when you're going back today, think of the last 4 statements that Anupam sir mentioned. Go back with those questions, try to find out those answers. I'm sure it will be worth every minute that you have spent over here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tigel, for proposing this idea. Thank you so much, Y20 and V20, for giving us this opportunity. I am sure somewhere down the line, it will filter down. There will be percolation. And whatever comes up, we may not be able to see it in a tangible format, but there will be an intangible benefit. Thank you so much.